All right, guys, so I'm going to be honest right off the bat. I could be very off base with this prediction, but I do think we're going to have something big coming very soon. That something big, I hope, is not going to be Sir Nick, because I guess 2 years ago now, I tried for Sir Nick in a champion training tournament. Very, very early days of my content creation career. And yeah, I lost. It was like 100,000 points I put up. It was very, very bad. Very, very bad. I did end up pulling Sir Nick, though. I don't really use him. Actually, I don't use him at all. But either way, since that day, I have set the goal of winning any champion training tournament that I want to. Okay, so with the Krisk champion training tournament we had a while back, I actually prepared since the Sir Nick event and the mental scarring that gave me. I had been preparing for the next potential champion training tournament, which so happened to be the Krisk one. And if you followed along during that event, you would have remembered that I put up a lot of points, like top top 3 global in the first hour of that tournament, because I had been saving for a little over a year at that point, I believe. So what I did is I had 162 5-star champions, put a bunch of brews into them, which this is going to be where we talk about the actual thumbnail of today's video, which is don't use your brews. But I spent 3,643 brews with the champions I had. I put up about 64,000 points in the matter of less than an hour. So imagine if you woke up, your person in first place had 64,000 points and you had 0, and this was within the first hour of the actual tournament starting. For most people, that's going to be very demoralizing. Now for me, it wasn't the best strategy, because what I did is I bursted those points and I was basically following along my entire journey, so everybody saw my resources literally every single day. So if you were in my bracket, you could easily have seen, hey, he doesn't really have much more left to give, and you could have pushed. Luckily, my bracket wasn't super well heavy, so I got lucky. But I want to today set you guys up in the best way possible to be prepared for a potential tournament. So first off, why do I think we may be having a tournament coming up? We'll look back here, March 2022, we had the Krisk tournament. I guess 3-4 months later in June 2022, we had the Kyoku tournament. And then I believe last month we had a Madame Sarah's skin tournament. But even more than that, we're coming up on Halloween, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas. This quarter of the year is the time where Plarium wants to make a ton of money. And if you look back at the Krisk tournament, you will know they made a ton of money. Tons of resources were spent going for Krisk. So today, I want to talk about some things you guys can do, some things you can save to set yourself up in the best position to actually go for whatever champion is going to be coming up in a future champion training tournament. Now, all this stuff I had laid out on this thing as well, time to save. So this right here was my, I guess, average over the amount of time that I saved. So basically, I had been saving for about 451 days from the Sir Nick tournament to the Krisk tournament. And over that 451 days, I made about 2.5 5-star champions per week that I would just throw in my vault. At the time, the vault, you had your vault and your main champion storage. But now you have the reserve vault. So the reserve vault is where all of my 5-star champions are going. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. But first off, I want to show you all some tips on actually going for these events. So first thing is save brews. This is so extremely important. We'll talk about the energy in just a second, but brews. I did a little bit of calculations. Hopefully these are correct, but let me go ahead and shrink this down just a little bit so you guys don't have to see every single bit of this next notepad. High quality notepad, I know. So with this, a brew is 18,750 experience when used on a champion of the correct affinity. So for example, we have an Incubus Force Affinity, put the brew on him, boom, 18,750 points. Now, if we used a Force one or a Magic Affinity brew on a Force Affinity champion, it's going to be 12,500 points. Now this is super, super important, because if you are doing my strategy or the typical strategy of leveling champions, putting them in your reserve vault, you want to make sure you're not going the OCD route of having all Incubuses. It looks cool, but then when you go in there to start actually giving your champion the brews to level them up for these champion training tournaments where you're trying to burst, if you have all Incubuses, then you have 13,000 brews, 1,300 brews, for example, like I have. After that, you're going to have to start using these other affinity brews for these champions, and you're going to get significantly less points. So make sure your affinities match up and that you have a good distribution of different affinity champions. But as far as the actual brew calculation, I was wondering about how much energy is it per brew. Hopefully this math is correct. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's correct. So in the campaign, if you do a campaign run, you're going to get 3,400 energy. If you have 2 times experience on, I'll give you guys an example right here, but you're going to get 34,608 experience. Now, that experience is going to be divided over the course of 4 different champions. 3 of those champions will actually be gaining experience, and the one is going to be your farmer. It's not going to be gaining experience. Why is my Fellhound not one-shotting these waves? That is a problem for sure. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. So, okay, so we lost. We still get experience. Put my Ray in here. She'll do fine. She'll do perfectly fine, I sure hope. So let's go ahead and finish this out, see what the experience is, and I'll talk about how much experience it is per brew so you guys can get an idea of what you're using on those times where you kind of just want to speed through the process. So 8,652, this is with a 2x experience on. So I do have a experience boosting, but I don't have the Forge Pass. I don't have the Raid Pass, nothing like that. So it's just with 2x XP. So with that said, you have 8,652 experience per champion. Now, remember, 3 of those champions are gaining the experience, but the 1 champion is not gaining anything. So you're basically getting 25,956 experience total, which is this, oh my goodness, you can see a lot of math I've done. 8,652 times 3, it's going to be that number right there. So each of the champions who are actually gaining experience, this is how much it's going to be. This is the part where it gets into the brew energy, okay? The brew energy equivalent from what I did. So the difference between this and this, so it's a 27% drop versus campaign experience versus a brew experience. So if the campaign costs 8 energy to run, then 1 brew is going to be the equivalent to about 5.76 energy. Basically what I did is I did 8 energy times 0.27. It's going to be 2.16. So then 8 minus 2.16, it's going to be 5.84. So somewhere in that range, okay? About 5.75 to 6 energy. Obviously, if you're doing Nightmare, it's going to be a little bit different, but you can just call it 6 if you just want to for simplicity's sake. But each brew you use is basically going to be, say, 6 energy. So if you're just coming in here and you're going to whatever champion you do, say you are just leveling up some level 1 champions, you don't really feel like running them through the campaign, you just want to level a champion for whatever reason, and you just click this, you max this out, 5 brews times that 5.75 number is going to be about 28 energy. Now, a one-off time, that's not a big deal. If you do that consistently all the time, that's quite a bit of energy you're wasting that is literally just being stockpiled up here. Now, your energy right here, when it's over cap, you might as well go ahead and spend that because you are not regenerating energy when you're over cap. So that's going to be the first thing, is saving your brews. Guys, brews are so important when it comes to bursting very hard, very heavy, very fast in these champion training tournaments. It's going to make the world of difference. Next thing I want to talk about is saving daily free energy. So what I mean by this, it's not your quest. You don't want to stack a ton of energy here. Now, if you're somebody, I've seen a lot of this happen, who has like 20,000 energy, 30,000 energy, 50,000 energy, hundreds of thousands of energy. I've seen that on accounts. It is insane. If you're one of those players, I would not recommend spending down your energy to start gaining daily free energy, simply because if you're wanting to go for one of these champion training tournaments, I would just save that. That's going to be more than you'll need. It's a crazy amount. But what I'm talking about is the daily free packs that you get that come with energy. When you get those, they're available for 99 days. So come in here. I've been buying a little bit of energy packs as it is, but they're available for 99 days. So whenever you get those, just save them. We may have one of those events in 99 days and we may not, but I'm thinking that we probably will have a champion training event coming fairly soon, just based on how everything's lining up, based on the holidays coming up, based on the spread between these. We're probably going to have one fairly soon, and preparing now is always better than preparing later. The next thing I want to talk about is saving your chickens. This is a pretty self-explanatory one, but assuming, now all of this is assuming that you're not a player who needs your next 6-star, okay? If you're somebody who needs your next 6-star champion yesterday, like if you're wanting to improve your clan boss team, obviously make those improvements. It's going to push your account the furthest. But if you're somebody who is progressing through the game pretty well, you don't really need anybody new at 6-star just yet. You can kind of pace yourself. Go ahead and save your chickens right here, okay? Save these chickens. Save your 5-star champions. Champions are going to be extremely important. These are basically just experience containers, you could call it, okay? Each one of these champions can have a few brews dropped into them. These are 5-star, okay? So 5-star champions, drop a few brews, boom. You literally have a lot of points just from dropping a few brews into any one of these champions. Getting them up to like level 25, level 30 is going to be ideal. this Reddit link over here, I'll leave it linked down below, but it talks about the efficient runs and brews to give a champion to give the best points per brew spent. I can do a better breakdown when it comes to actually preparing and actually executing on this plan. But for now, I kind of just want to help you guys be mindful, start preparing, knowing what to save, where you can kind of save things. If you guys have any additional ideas, strategies, definitely leave them down below. But for me, I'm throwing everybody in my reserve vault, 5-star champions, 4-star champions, level 40, 4-star champions, level 1, whatever it is. Any of those champions who you don't need right now, throw them in your reserve vault. If you're a player who only has 3-star champions, throw them in there as well. It just depends on what level of account you're at, but having these level 1 champions is going to be absolutely incredible when it comes to dumping brews into them, ranking them up. It's going to be a ton of free points for these champion training tournaments. It's going to be amazing, okay? So here we go. Next thing, not that, but this right here. Notepads, got too many of them, okay? Next thing is ranked champions of different affinity. I tried to highlight that again because that is so incredibly important. You'll see in my vault. Let's go ahead and take a look at it real quick, okay? If you're not mindful about this, you can definitely start spiraling out of control and start having champions of all the same affinity. So I have a good chunk of force affinity. Not really. I have 2 rows, about almost 3. I have 2 rows, okay, of magic, more or less. We have 2 rows of spirit, it looks like. And then, yeah, I guess I actually have a pretty good dispersion. I have a pretty good mix of affinities so far. And then void affinity, we got a decent amount as well. So far, my stuff looks pretty good. Now I have these champions who I don't necessarily need to take to 6-star yet, but they're legendary champions who I will take to 6-star during these events, and I'll just leave them right here. So I'll leave them right here. They're going to be ready to go whenever they're ready, but it's no rush, okay? I don't need Growhawk. I don't need Nodgar for anything. So just leaving them in here for some free experience whenever the time comes, it's going to be perfect. All these champions can go to 6-star without too much of an issue. And heck, if you're in the situation where you're making 6-star champions, like I made these for the Krisk tournament, I believe. So I don't need to level them. Might as well just throw them in here. No reason to rush them. I made the level 1 Death Knight just to see if I could get the Death Knight avatar. You can't get it once the event already passed, unfortunately. But I've been just throwing all the champions in here, leaving them. I'll level them up when the champion training tournament comes. But if you can set a goal, so say for example, we have this event. I can't actually pull the calendar. Let's see if we can pull the calendar up right here. So calendar right here, we have, crap. Let's go ahead and get this fixed. Calendar right here. So say it was in December, okay? Say December 26th, okay? Just for an example, we have how many weeks? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks approximately. So if you have 11 weeks and you're saving 2.5 5-star champions per week, you could have 27.5 5-star champions, okay? Let's just say you did 30, okay? 30 5-star level 1 champions within now until December 26th, which is right around the Christmas time. So if we have a champion training tournament around that time, you're going to have a decent little stockpile. It's not going to be great. You may not be in the position to actually win, but you're going to be in a significantly better position than you would have been had you not been preparing whatsoever. But the most important thing, guys, this is something you can do right now. You're going to get brews from the clan boss. You're going to get brews if you make any purchases. Brews drop in some weird places that I don't even pay attention to. But if you're getting them, just save them. There's no reason to use them. Just run the campaign. You get free energy. Energy regenerates all the time. Brews do not regenerate, and you're going to want to save those because if you have 5,000, that's going to be perfect. If you have 10,000, that's going to be perfect. You can never have too many. You're just going to need champions to dump those into, which is another very important thing. It's a delicate balance. You're going to want to make sure you have brews saved up, but you're also going to want to make sure you have champions to dump those brews into. Invest in both of them, and then by the time the next champion training tournament comes, you should be in a pretty good position to, if you want, go ahead, jump in, and burst 64,000 points in the matter of just an hour, demoralize your entire bracket, and then go ahead and go for the win. So guys, if you have any additional tips, let me know down below. Obviously, it should go without saying, you're going to want experience boost. You're probably going to want Forge Pass if it comes out whenever those events are going on. If a champion training event's going on alongside the Forge Pass, you're going to want that. You're going to want the Raid Pass if you can get it. You can get the Raid Pass through BlueStacks, which I will leave linked down below. You can also get the Raid Pass through mobile device. You can't get it on Plarium Play for whatever reason. But guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you all very much for watching. If you have any tips, tricks, leave them down below as well. But that's basically my preparation We'll talk about the execution of this once we get closer to an actual event. We'll go into the optimizations and everything. But so far, I just want to give you guys kind of an idea, an overall view of, hey, maybe we're starting to plan for this because it's much better to be ready than have to get ready, okay? So guys, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you on the next video.